The following episode of Dad vs. Daughter was made possible by a contribution from Eagle Griffin Games. Baseball Highlights 2045 from Eagle Griffin Games is a different kind of deck building game. And as you can see, I'm not in my normal attire here. I'm actually sporting my favorite baseball team, the Cincinnati Reds, as I want to talk to you about this game. Now, we are going to be simulating baseball games that are set in the future. Now, these games have different sorts of players. We have naturals who are really good at fielding. We have cyborgs who are very good at pitching. And then we have robots who are very good at hitting. We're going to be playing a bunch of mini games in order to figure out who's going to win the grand game. We've got a regular season, and then we're going to play the best of 7 as a World Series, and that'll determine who wins the overall game. So I'm going to tell you how to play the game. I'm going to show you a bunch of different add-ons that you can put in to enhance your game, and then I'm going to tell you what Dad and his group thinks. So check it out and batter up. Let me start off by saying that what you see here, especially this mat, is not what you're going to get in the base game. This is an add-on, and I'll talk about that later. What you will get in the base game is you will get this double-sided board. So you can see, depending on if you're right or left-handed or however you like your cards to be, you can either play with this side or you can flip it over and you can play with that side. But I wanted to kind of use the mat because it's a little bit bigger, and I think it'll show up a little bit better on camera. Also, you'll notice that my deck of free agents is very thick. That is because I have every expansion that they have included into there. So with the base game, you won't have nearly that size of a stack. So I just wanted to point that out. You will get these little pennants that have visitor and home. Now you get 4 of these, and you get them in different colors. So you're going to get this orange, you get blue, you get black on orange, and then you also get this really dark looking blue, or almost, it's not quite black, but you can see kind of how it fits into the color scheme there. It'd be neat to have these for every team's colors, but these represent the teams that come with the game. So what does come with the game is you have 4 teams. You have New York, and you'll notice that it doesn't have a team name. It just has the city name on there. So it could be the Mets or it could be the Yankees. You have Boston. You have Los Angeles. And this deck here is San Francisco. Now, there are a bunch of other different teams that you can buy, and I'll talk about that later. I just want to show you what you do get in the base game. You also get 4 of these little batting icon or tokens that represent the numbers of runs scored, and then you also get this little diamond token, basically, to show how many games that you've won. Because you're going to be playing a bunch of mini games. You're going to be playing basically a regular season, which consists of 3 mini games. Now, you're going to play 3, and then whoever wins the majority of that will be the home team for the World Series. When you play the World Series, just like in normal baseball, you're going to play the best of 7 series. You're going to rotate who becomes home and visitor, just like they do in real baseball. You'll also see that I have a bunch of these dudes up here. We have different colors. We have red, white, and blue. Now, the red represent fast base runners, the white represent slow base runners, and the blue are average base runners. Now, that's important because when they get on base, they're going to act differently. So the fast base runners, if say that there is a single hit and this guy is on first, he'll go around to third. If you had a slow guy on first and you had a single, he would only go to second. And if you had an average runner on first and hit a single, he would only go to second. However, if somebody hits a single when an average base runner or a fast base runner is on second, they will actually come around and score. Now, each team deck consists of 15 cards. Now, 10 of those cards are identical through every deck, and those are the rookies. So each team's going to have the exact same 10 rookies. However, where the difference comes in is the veteran set. and there are 5 veterans for each baseball team. Now, these are going to be different. Now, I think there's like 12 or 14 different veteran sets throughout all of the different teams that you can acquire. And if you go online, you can find out which teams have which veteran set. That way you can determine which ones you have, because some of those are going to be identical. Let me walk you through how a mini game is played. So I'm going to have my deck of 15 cards for my team, and just for this purpose I'm going to have San Francisco. What I'm going to do is, after I shuffle this, I'm going to draw the top 6 cards off of the deck. I'll put that back into the lineup, and then I am going to look at my cards. So let me walk you through what each of these things are on the card. So you'll notice that this 0 here, this is the amount of income that this player is going to generate at the end of the game, and you're going to be using that income in order to buy free agents. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. You'll see that this player is a natural, so that's the type of player he is. And then here, this is a special ability. He has clutch, and it says that it's a double if there is a runner on second or third. So in the case of if we had a runner on second or third, then he would get a clutch double whenever he goes off. He is also going to have what is called threatened hits. In this case, he's going to be threatening 1 single, and then this tells you what type of speed he is. He is an average base runner. Here's a look at a different card, so you can see that this guy will generate 1 income at the end of the game, and then he's got a defensive ability. He has the glove, which says it cancels 1 hit. He also has this pinch hit symbol, so what I can do is, instead of actually playing this card, I can call in a pinch hitter if I want to. Now, how we determine a pinch hitter, so after I've got my 6 cards here, I may say, you know what, I want this robot to be a pinch hitter. So I'm actually going to turn him face down, and I'm going to put him on my on deck circle, and then I will draw another card so that I have 6. So then on my turn, what I want to do is I want to see which card I want to start with. So let's just say I want to lead off with this robot. So I would play him in the in-play area, and then you'll notice that he is going to actually threaten 2 singles. He's a slow base runner, so what I would do is I would grab 2 of the slow base runners there, and I would put them at home plate to show that that is actually what I'm threatening. So now that the visitor has actually made a play, it's time for the other team, the home team, to make a play. So in this case, let's say that Boston decides to use this card. So you'll notice it says glove. You're going to cancel 1 hit, and it's going to threaten an average single. So what we'll do then is we will remove 1 of these runners for that glove, and then on the home team's board, they would put a blue single guy down at their home plate. Now, since we've resolved, the 1 single will still go off. This guy will advance to first. And you're going to keep going back and forth like that until all 6 cards have been played for each team. Now, like I said, the home team could, or the visiting team, if they used a pinch hitter, they could bring this card in at any time. They would just simply discard the pinch hitter into the dugout. But at the end of the game, you're going to have 6 cards in your in-play area. So then what you're going to do is you're going to add up the total of all these numbers that are in green, and then you are going to be able to buy a free agent. So after each team has played all 6 of their cards, we're going to look and see who has scored the most runs. Now, in the case of a tie, we'll actually go into extra innings. And when we do that, we're going to take 3 cards off the top of our deck. We're going to look at them, and then simultaneously, the home team and the visiting team would play 1 of those cards, and you're going to resolve the threatened hits and use the defensive abilities just like you would during the normal game. And you'll keep doing that until someone actually scores and wins the game. When the game is over, what we're going to do is we're going to take all those cards that we have in play, and we're going to add up all the numbers that we have in this green circle. So we have 1, we have a 0, so we're at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 income in order to purchase free agents. So at the start of the game, what we will have done is we will flip over the top 6 cards in the free agent deck, and this creates our buy row. Now, you'll notice that the free agents have a little bit different look than the starting cards. So you'll see that they have a 5 and they have a 2 here. Now the 5 is how much money it's going to cost in order to purchase this free agent. And then the 2 is just like the normal starting team cards. He will generate 2 income when he is used in a game. And you'll notice this guy is a cyborg. He's got an ability of pickoff that says remove all base runners. He's also going to threaten an average single, and he can be a pinch hitter. And you'll see it's got his name up there, which is usually a combination of 2 great baseball legends, and then it's got his team name. Now, when you purchase a free agent, he's actually going to go face down on top of your team deck. And then those cards that you had in the last game, you're going to look through there and you're going to figure out which one basically you want to get rid of to basically send down to the minor leagues. So let's just say I want to send this guy down. So you'll notice that I have a little minor league spot there. So I'll just turn him face down, and he is out of the game for the rest of the game. So the cards that I have remaining will go into the dugout, and I will draw 6 new cards off the top of my deck, which the first one will be the free agent that I have. Now, the other team is also going to be able to go. When we buy a card from the free agent row or the buy row, we will replace it. And whoever has the lowest number of income actually gets to decide who gets to buy first. So let's just say that the visiting team had 5 to buy and the home team had 7. So the visiting team would actually be able to choose which of those cards that they wanted to buy first. If they didn't see anything that they wanted, they could actually pass and let the other team go first in hopes that they're going to buy a card and a card that they really want comes up. The game's rulebook is actually very good, and as you can see here, there are a bunch of other different keywords, and it goes into detail as far as what each one of those does. So there's clutch, there's curve, double play, fastball, glove, knuckleball, leadoff, pickoff, quick eye, split ball, stolen base, and a walk. So you'll notice that, like I said, there's plenty of detail on there. There's a bunch of other information in here that you can have, different game modes that you can have. You can have a 4-player tournament if you want. If you want to play solo, there's solitaire rules and such, but very good rule book. Once you know how to play, the mini games actually fly by pretty quick because you're only playing 6 cards apiece. So you're probably going to complete a mini game in about 5 minutes. Like I said, you're going to play 3 that are going to represent the regular season. Then you're going to play the best of 7 World Series. So in total, your entire game is probably going to run you anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. I recently had an opportunity to teach a bunch of new guys how to play Baseball Highlights 2045. So what I did was I kind of captured them going back and forth and playing through one of the mini games. So I think by watching that, you'll get a really good idea of how the game flows. So let's check it out by watching one of their turns. We are ready to go.
Threaten 2 slow singles.
All right, we cancel 1 hit. I guess this means robot only. And
Yep.
then,
Well, if you do a robot check, so when you do a robot check, what you're going to do is you're going to flip over the top card of the free agent deck and see if it is a robot. If it is, then that will go off. Yep,
cyborg.
it is a cyborg, so your defense does not go off, and that just gets discarded.
Okay.
And you're threatening a fast double and a fast single.
So my 2 singles will go off. All right, I'm gonna cancel a hit.
The double. And you get to pick,
Yeah.
obviously, the double. And pass pitch.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So the single goes off.
he did.
I don't threaten anything. That's just a purely defensive card.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you're good.
I'm threatening an average double.
Okay. So I'll use my clutch single if a runner on second or third. So that's hits a single and threatens an average double.
And your single was an average as well.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. 'cause
Okay.
that's-
So that's
Second comes
card.
home.
so the guy that was on second would come home.
No. He's still on third.
Needs to be blue.
You had a single,
Yeah.
right? So your guy should be on first. Your blue guy should be. On
Oh,
first.
okay. So
And
that's
you're still threatening an
and,
average single.
and still threatening an
Double.
average double.
Double. Sorry.
Double.
All right. So that's right.
Nice. But
Was this
he's
me?
gonna score. Your guy needs to go off.
You're going to change all hits to walk. So
Your double
instead of
goes
a,
off
a
first.
double, it's going to just be a walk.
Gotcha.
Because he's gonna, Johnny, your double goes off.
Oh, does that already go off and he scores?
He's gonna score, and your other guy's like, yeah, you're gonna get that guy. Since you've already you'll score here in a second.
So let's get some defense on the board. Cancel that hit.
Okay, so he stopped your double.
Stop the double.
Okay, now I probably would do that.
Yeah. All right. So I'll threaten an average triple.
You got him on the ropes.
Okay, I'm gonna change that to a walk.
Okay. So everybody walks.
Score
By
one, and everyone moves up a base.
Yep.
He slides home. That's an advanced move. I'll teach you later.
Slide.
Tim gets mad.
All right. That was just a defensive card?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm going to pick off your base runner.
Get that chump out.
All right.
Just straight.
Please remove. So this is just getting a new.
Well, this won't make any difference then.
Yeah, that won't be bad.
He may have a clutch.
And do I play it here?
You play it, but then you're going to replace it.
The mystery.
So that card will go out of the game, that robot card.
And you get whatever you just drew.
Okay, got it.
He would have
So-
gotten a stolen base, but
There.
no one on base.
No. So he's gonna do a single double. Yeah, I'm still two singles.
All right. So I'll just threaten 2 fast singles.
So these go off.
Yep.
Those will go off.
Single.
So
double.
single, fast guy,
This is third.
double,
He'll score actually.
brings him home.
Yep.
Oh, so they chain together, huh? Nice.
And then
Just
my
like
last
back-to-back
card
hits.
goes,
Yeah, yeah.
which is a home run.
So
Average.
So he's gonna. So to do a visitor save, you just draw one from here.
Well, his card,
Oh, your card goes off.
his cards will go off.
So two singles.
So 2 singles.
Do one at a time.
Yeah.
These guys.
So that'll move
You're gonna score two at least there.
because he'll score on the first single.
Yeah.
So that's 2 runs. And then
That guy goes to second. The next single's gonna score.
You got
one
2 more runs then, huh?
One more, right?
Yeah, so your next single will go off. So your average runner on second will score.
score. And then
Does the fast one go all the way around too?
You should go to third.
He goes to third.
All right, so he's gonna score two, so it would be tied. So what you need to do is visitor
So your-
save.
so your
He's
runs
threatening
go
a home
off.
run. Well,
Hang
I
on.
played the card.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
So visitor save to try and stop him. Play it.
okay, throwing a curve. Cancel all hits versus a robot.
So
It is a
cancels
robot.
It is a robot. So like you could
Mr.
have drawn like a
Roboto.
home run, but you don't get the offense. You only get defense on the visitor save. You just happen to draw the one card that stopped his home run.
So the final would be 4-2.
Yep.
Slams his
luck.
bat down. And
That
So
was
if
luck.
that card, if he had not blocked that,
Now that I've given you a high-level overview of how the game is played, let's look at some of the extras that you can have in order to bling out your game. So I did show you this player mat. You could have 2 of them, and each player then would have that if you don't want to use these little boards that come with it. Although there's nothing wrong with these. These are nice, and they're really sturdy. So, and the fact that they're double-sided, depending on which side you'd rather have your cards on, is a nice touch. I did mention that I had all these different expansions. So you can see there is the free agent deck that I have. So from game to game, we never know which card is going to come up. And there are some good ones that me and my buddies always gravitate towards, and we try to fight over who's going to get those. But let me show you, based on the cards that we had out here in the buy row, just kind of a little sample of what these have. So you can see this guy is a natural. He's got the clutch ability. He costs 4, but he's not generating any income. We have the rally bot. He has the rally ability. It says if behind, he actually home runs. We have Boomer 3. He's a leadoff, so if you play this as your first card, then he's an automatic single, and then he's going to be threatening 2 more fast singles. We've got Scraps, who has the replace ability. It says remove from the game and replace with the top card of the free agent deck. We have Sparky Rivera. He's a closer. He says if he's ahead, you get to cancel all hits versus any player. And then you have Murray, I'm going to butcher that last name, so I won't even try. We have the double play, so you get to remove up to 2 base runners, but not fast ones. So you can see with all the different expansions that you can put in there, you have like ones that are geared to hitters, one that's geared to pitchers, one that's geared to the naturals, the fielders. You're going to get a bunch of new different abilities that's really going to make your game experience a lot different from game to game. These are the standard base runner tokens that you're going to have that come with the base game, but I do know that you can actually upgrade these to where they look like batters and runners in different positions, and I think you can get them online for about 20 bucks. I don't think you can get them directly from Eagle Griffin, but I know if you just do a search, you'll find where they're at. Here's a good look at this player mat, so you can see kind of where everything is without having any of the tokens on there. So this mat is nice, but let me show you a more upgraded mat that you can get. For comparison, here is the mat I was just showing you. Let me move that out of the way, and then you can see there is the entire big map, which essentially is 2 of those together, plus you have the area for the free agent. Now this I do know, this and the other mat, I think you can order directly from Eagle Griffin Games. If you go out on their website, you can check it out. But this is a really cool mat, one of the best game mats I think I've actually used in a game. I know I showed these off in our unboxing video, but here are all the teams that I just personally have. Like I'd mentioned, here are the 4 that you get with the game: Los Angeles, New York, Boston, and San Francisco. And then the rest of these I've purchased. So I've got Washington, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Cincinnati, Minnesota, Seattle, Cleveland, Texas, and Detroit. And if you want to know why I selected certain teams, check out our unboxing video, because I gave a kind of a description of why I chose the teams that I did. Another expansion that you can pick up is the Ballparks expansion. Now this comes with 10 cards, so that you can have a different one for each of the games that you play, because like I said, you'd play 3 regular season games and then the best of 7 of the World Series. Now each one of these has a different ability, and you'll see this one says this is a sold out park. Get there a little closer so you can see that. And it says the winning team gains +2 revenue for their buy phase. So different things are going to affect different games, and this, like I said, whatever the outcome of the game is, or certain things that happen during the game are going to come into play here. Here you have high grass. Here you have real grass. So different things that are going to basically make each of those games unique. Another expansion you can pick up is the coach expansion. Now you'll notice that there's actually quite a few of these cards, because what you're going to do is you're actually going to draft X amount of these, and you're going to pick one to use in a game. Now I would probably say that this is my least favorite expansion, and I've only used this a handful of times. The people that I've played with it really didn't care too much for this, but it is something that you can add to enhance your game and make it a little bit different each time. The other two expansions are also, I think, the two newest. I haven't actually had a chance to open these yet. Is the Double Trouble expansion and the Home Cooking expansion. So you can see how many different cards you get with these. So these will just be added to your free agent deck. And like I said, I've already got all these other expansions that I have been using that makes my free agent deck very large. So next time I play, I'll be opening these up and adding those in as well. Now that I've gone over how the game plays and what different add-ons that you can get to, let's get to what Dad and his group think of the game. I wouldn't classify myself as a huge baseball fan because, like I mentioned in the intro, I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan, and we've kind of fallen on hard times last few years. In fact, we haven't won a World Series since 1990, and so my enthusiasm in the baseball season tends to wane about a couple months in after the Reds really become irrelevant. Really hoping, though, that with the acquisitions that they've made this offseason, that they're going to turn it around and they're going to be a really good team this year. So fingers crossed on that. But that being said, this is actually one of my favorite deck builders. I really enjoy playing this game. It does feel like baseball, even though you're kind of just doing the highlights. You know, some cards, they'll have, they're threatening X amount of hits. And some people say, well, that doesn't seem like baseball because baseball is, a batter goes up to the plate, he's in a duel with the pitcher, and he's going to get one hit during that time. Like I said, this takes place in the future, and this is the highlights. And I can really get behind that. I think where it really makes it stand out and feels like baseball is by having the base runners on the diamond and scoring runs that way. Making strategic plays out of your hand in order to try to, advance those base runners, get them into scoring position so that the other cards that can come in, if they go through the defense, then they're going to score you points. The other thing, or runs. The other thing is that trying to guess what your opponent is going to do. If you think that he is going to try to move his guys into position, then he might not be playing a defensive card, and you might be able to get a better offensive card in there and score a lot of runs. So a lot of different things that really brings out how this feels like baseball. And I do want to point out that if you do have any questions, I've gone out on Board Game Geek and I've posed them directly to Mike Fitzgerald, the game's designer. And I think he hangs out there quite a bit. He's always been great about answering questions. So don't fail to use him as a resource if there's something that comes up and you're not quite sure how it plays. Mike's been great. You can see the insert. It's actually not bad. It's broken out. I've got, this separated out. Here's like the starting teams, and then I've got two different expansion teams in each one of those slots. Here's all of my free agents that I have. Here's the other two expansions that I haven't opened, and then the ballpark and the coaches expansion. Plus, you've got a well for the base runners, and then where you can put your pennants and your other markers. Now, I've taught this game to a handful of people. It was actually taught to me by another coworker a few years ago. And I think the first time I played it, I really liked it. And each subsequent play that I've had of it just kind of increased it, my liking of that much more, to where this is one of my actual favorite games in my collection. In fact, the guys that I work with, we're getting ready to start a whole league. We've got 6 of us that are going to be playing. And we're each going to have a team. We're going to break out 3 teams in each of the different leagues, and we've got a whole schedule set up on how we're going to play. So really looking forward to how we're going to get that through. I think we're talking about playing like 30 games, which would average about 1 per week for the entire run of the Major League Baseball season. So we're not going to get too burnt out on it. But like I said, the games play very fast. You're going to play a complete game in probably, like I said, 30 to 45 minutes. Still depends on how that works out. But I'm looking forward to, we've got some new players, so I'm really anxious to see how well they like it. They're big baseball fans, so I think they're probably going to be predispositioned to like this. those people that are not baseball fans, I don't know if they're going to like this. As a deck builder, it is different. Like I said, it does feel a lot like baseball. But they may look past that and see it just as a deck builder and the way certain things play. I don't know. Like I said, I am a baseball fan, so I do like this game a lot. So I think if you're a baseball fan and you're a gamer, I think this is the baseball game that you're probably going to want. I've also played Stratomatic, which is totally feels different. And comparing, between the two, I actually prefer this one over Stratomatic. So as I mentioned before, by having all these expansions, the replayability is through the roof. You're probably not going to have too many games that feel the same because you're going to have so many different free agents. You've got, the ballparks, the coaches that are going to give you a different flavor on those. So like I said, tons of replayability on this. You can upgrade it to your heart's content. You can go for this really super nice mat, or you can just play with the normal mats that come with it. Like I said, they're good thickness, double-sided. You also get these little player aids that kind of explain the immediate actions and the other things as a quick reference guide. Mentioned the rule book is really good too. So everything about this game, I think, hits the mark. So that is Baseball Highlights 2045, and we will catch you guys next time. If you would like to support us, you can visit patreon.com/dadvdaughter.
Like and follow us on Facebook to stay current on our show schedule, sneak peeks at future shows, and to interact with us.